Hello guys, welcome to my channel. I am Rajnikant and today's video will gonna discuss interceptors in Spring, or you can say handler interceptor in Spring. Okay, so what exactly this handler interceptor, basic concepts, and when and how we'll gonna implement in real-time scenarios we'll gonna discuss. So if you have not subscribed my channel yet, please do subscribe it immediately and hit the bell icon to get all the notification from my side. If you see, this is my channel. A lot of Git videos are there, CRUD application, and unit testing and integration testing, code coverage. If you are really interested, then you can watch those videos as well, right? So let's start today's concept. Okay, so in MVC or RESTful services, we do have controllers, right? So if you want to execute some code before the request goes to controller, right? At the end, the request will be handled by controller, right? But if you want to execute something before the request goes to controller, just before you want to execute something, right? So that time we should go for interceptor. Okay, so in Spring we do have a predefined interface known as handler interceptor, and in that handler interceptor interface we do have three methods: pre-handle, post-handle, and after completion. Okay, so pre-handle, what it does. Okay, so as the name itself indicates, pre-handle. Okay, so before handling the request by the controller, before the request handled by the controller, pre-handle. So before handling the request by the controller, if you want to do something, if you consider real-time scenario or real-time example, maybe you want to log those headers and requests, right? So that time we can go for pre-handle. And post-handle, this method will execute after that request handled by the controller, right? So before it went to that client whoever is calling, before it went to that client whoever is calling, if you want to modify something, then we can go for post handle. This method will execute before that request, before that response went to client, this method will execute. Okay, then after completion, when exactly this method will execute? So after that request handled completely, the request processed by controller and the response went to that client, so then after that this method will execute, right? So hope you got a clear idea what exactly that interceptor and those methods present in that interceptor and when those methods will execute. Okay, so let me tell you that real-time scenarios where exactly this is useful. I have noted it down. If you see, log the IP address accessing the resources, whoever is trying to access that resource means that controller, right? So log those IP address. Or if you want to block some particular IP address, means you want to block some request for some particular countries, that time also this is very useful. And log the total time to process the request, right? So you can log that particular amount of time, what is that amount of time it took to process the request, that time also we can use this one. Apart from that one, log the incoming payload and headers, that already I told. So if you want to logging those headers and payloads, then we can use this interceptors as well. And apart from that one, if you want to some custom authorization and all, that time also we can go for interceptors, right? So hope you got those real-time scenarios where exactly we're gonna use that interceptors, right? So let's quickly develop a sample application to see those basics and implementing some of that real-time scenario. So we're gonna implement, what we're gonna implement, let's see, we'll see this one: log the total time to process the request, right? So let's quickly develop some sample applications for your understanding. Let me open my favorite IDE, IntelliJ IDEA. It's a community version, it's completely free. Okay, let's create a new project. Okay, Spring Assistant will create Java 8. Already I have installed Java 11 as well in my system. Com.interceptor CEPTOR. Let me check that spelling. INTERCEPTOR. Okay. This one, some name, interceptor demo. Okay, this is my own project. Instead of Java 11, let's take Java 8, and project name will take this one, interceptor demo. And the description, let me put some interceptor demo only here. Okay, let's package will take com.interceptor. Okay, dot control com.interceptor only will take Java 8. Okay, let's hit. So what will take here? Web will take, only web will take. That's enough, I guess. Okay, will not take anything apart from that one. Let's finish the project. It will take some time to generate all those dependencies and all. Let's wait for some time. I hope it's generated all those stuffs. Okay, here we go. So let's just see that folder structure. It's src main and test for writing unit test cases. Java is here and interceptor. This is the package, and this is that main class which is annotated with @ Spring Boot application. So let's create a package first, or else we'll create that interceptor here itself. Right click here and the Java class. No, first we'll create a controller. Let's write some controller. Right? Sorry. It should be one package we'll take, then we'll write controllers. Package controllers. Okay, so here let's write some basic controller. What will take? Employee controller. This is for demo only. I will show you. I mean, before hitting any controller, this request will dropped by that interceptor. Sorry, REST controller. What will happen? REST controller. Let's quickly write some methods. Public string or get employee. This is some dummy methods I am writing over here, and let's return. Sorry, employee fetched success. No, will not say success. Employee fetched. This is for demo only, to show you that yes, that particular request got dropped. Okay, so here get mapping, and we'll write some URLs employee employee. Here we go. Apart from that one, nothing else gonna do. Control Alt L to format this one. Okay, so we have written some basic controllers. Let's run this application. We're gonna see whether that application is working or not. Then we'll write some interceptor to trap that request before hitting that controller. It's running that application, and okay, application.properties I have not declared. I think by default 8080 that application will run. Yes, by default it's running 8080. So let me do something. 8080 I have opened Postman to test that one, and employee employee, it's a get request only. Yes, employee fetch, right? So this endpoint is working perfectly. Now let's develop that interceptor. Okay, so let's write one package, or we'll say no, we'll directly create a interceptor here. Java class. What is the interceptor we'll take? Uh, Demo interceptor, or not demo. Say a log time interceptor. Log time interceptor. As we log that, how much time it took to process that request, right? Intercept that interceptor, log time interceptor, and one interface provided by the Spring. What is the interface? Handler interceptor. So we need to implements handler interceptor. If you see, this is the interface. Let's see what is the methods are present over here. If you see, pre-handle, post-handle, after completion. Okay, so let me copy this entire stuffs. We are the programmers, right? We should copy paste. Okay, so here we go, and instead of default, well, let's remove those stuffs. Okay, here we go. Still why it's crying? I don't know why it's crying. Okay, this should be public. Everything should be public, no? Public. This is a very tricky question. In interview also, you will get this kind of thing. They will implement that interface, and they will not give this public, this methods as a public, and they will ask what is the output, right? So we got right. So we should provide those methods as a public, right? So this is that interface we have declared. Now let's see. By default, this is true. Pre-handle, this method, if returns true, this indicates yes, your request should be processed by that controller. The request will deliver it to that controller. If you are returning false here, then the request will not go to that controller. Okay, from here itself it will return false, means from here itself the response will go to that client. Okay, so if it is returning true, then your request will be handled by that controller. If your request is false, your request will not go to that controller. From here itself it will go to your client, whoever is calling. Okay, so now let's see what we can do here. Okay, so we have declared this log time interceptor, right? So can we now run that our application and we'll see whether it's working or not? Definitely it will not work, right? So we have declared this interceptor, right? But how does Spring will know for which controller it want to intercept the request? Where we have defined, right? Nowhere we have defined this one, right? So what we need to do to identify that Spring, yes, this request, whatever the request is coming, I need to trap this with this interceptor, right? We need to provide this information somewhere. If the request is coming for this controller, yes, I need to trap this request by this interceptor, right? So we need to provide this information somewhere. So where we need to provide, I will show you here. So for that one, we need some configuration. Let me create one package, config package, config package, and let's create a class interceptor config. Okay, and here we need to implement one interface. What is that one? Implements web mbc configurer, right? This intercept this interface we need to implement, and from this intercept from this interface, we need to implement one method to register our interceptors, right? So just see how amazing this one. Our Java 8 introduced default methods in interface. So there is no hard rule to implement every method in your implementation class, right? Because in web configurer, this interface, every methods are default methods. So you are not bound to override those stuffs. Just see, all the methods are default methods. So we need to implement override one method. What is that method? Interceptor, add interceptor. Okay, let me copy this method. I can write, but why I should write? No, we should copy paste. Public, let me remove this default. Public void, if you want we can add that override as well. Control Alt L. So public void add interceptors means here it is saying just register those interceptors. Here interceptor registry is there and registry. So in this registry we'll add interceptor. Here we need to create that object. What is that? A log time interceptor and dot add path patterns. So what is that pattern? So which controller you want to add that interceptor? For which controller you want to add that interceptor? If you want to for every request, then you can have some wildcard characters. But if you want to for a specific controller, then we can have, sorry, where is that our controller? I guess that employee, this is that URL, no? So we can have this URL. So whatever that controller you want to use, for what controller you want to use this interceptor, that controller's URL you need to give it here. If you want for every controller, you can have some wildcard characters, or some for around some group of controllers, you can have some wildcard characters to satisfy those controllers URL, right? I guess hope you have done. But still, how your Spring will know, right? This is, we have register here, but this class would identify it by the Spring, right? Because this is a configuration things, right? So here we need to add at the rate configure, at the rate configuration, right? Control Alt L. Yep, the entire setup is done, right? This entire setup is done. Now we'll run this application and we're gonna see, right? So before that one, let me put something here. This is false. False means, no, first we'll give true. True means the request will be processed by the controller. Let me give some sysout system.out.println pre-handle method, pre-handle method. Okay, let's copy this thing. This is void, right? And this is post handle method. This is after completion. Let's give some print sysout for our demonstration purpose. After completion, here we go, right? So here true means the request will be processed by that controller, right? Let's run this application, we're gonna see. Okay, so let's run this application. It's running. Okay, this is the console. Sorry. Okay, application started with 8080 port. Now let's hit this URL, employee fetched, right? So the controller, it's working, means that request is going to the controller. Let's see. just see what is the sequence: pre-handle, post-handle, after completion. Okay, now let's give here false, 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 and we'll see how. Just see, we are getting it from controller, right? Employee fetched. Now let's give it false and we'll restart that application. Okay, so let's start it again. It's false, right? Okay, so we're gonna see how the request will drop by this one now. Okay, application got started. Let's hit the request now. You can see no output is coming from controller, right? So it's not able to reach the controller. From that handler interceptor itself, it's returning, right? Just see, from pre-handle only, it's executing that pre-handle, right? So the request is not reaching to that particular controller, right? So this is that basic thing we have covered. Now let's implement our use case. What is that use case? We'll see how much time is taking to process the request, right? So how we'll do that one? So in this method, what are the accessible things are that HTTP servlet request I am getting, HTTP servlet response also I am getting, right? So in that request, let me put some attribute, request dot set attribute start time, and let's put that timing. What is that? System, we'll take that current millisecond, system dot cu current time in millisecond. Okay, so this will execute this method when? Before hitting to that controller, right? Then after hitting that controller, we'll get it here, right? This post handle. Here we'll get request dot get attribute. Request dot get attribute of what? Start time. Okay. So here we'll get the start time, and here what? Long time will take, long time equal to, and here we'll typecast this one, okay, because this is object at the end, right? Now we'll see here the time took took the time taken for processing that request, processing the request is, what is, we'll take this system dot current millisecond. What is that current time? Plus, sorry, minus, what is that starting time? I mean ending time minus starting time, right? Then we'll get, what is that problem it's saying? Cannot apply to string. Okay, what is that string here, over here? Long, and over here this time, right? Let's see what is the problem. Okay, long time taken equal to this one, and let's, okay, so here we go. So what exactly here we are doing? Whenever the request is coming, before hitting into the controller, we are setting that current time. Okay, so here we are setting that current time with the attribute start time. Okay, the post handle, when it will execute after the entire request process, then this post handle will execute, right? So here what we are doing, we are getting that current time, sorry, we are getting that current time, system dot current time millisecond. So current time we are getting, and this time, what is this time? Whatever that time before hitting that controller, right? So we are doing that calculation. So time taken is system dot get system dot current time in millisecond minus the start time. Okay, and here we are printing. Now let's see. This is a small use case. Now let's see. We'll restart the application and we're gonna see how many milliseconds it's taking. Here we go. Let me run this application again. Here we are returning true, right? So it will hit the controller and we'll get the result. Okay, so let's run it. Let me clear that console. Let's run. Employee first, right? We are getting from controller. Now let's see what is that time it's taking. Time taken for processing the request is 32 millisecond, right? So it's taking 32 millisecond to process the request. So this is one use case, right? So hope you got a clear picture about this one. A lot of other concepts are also there on top of this one, like how you will send some error response from this interceptor, right? So if you are not sending the request to controller, right? Suppose you are here, you are returning false. Okay, so that time how you are sending that response, error response to the controller, those things also are there. So a lot of other things are also there. Maybe in upcoming session I will show you some global exception handling with this one and how we'll send some error response to our client, right? So hope you at least got the basic idea what is interceptor and what are those use cases, those stuffs, right? So again I will say here, if you'll go to this one and my YouTube studio, and I'll show you that what is our metrics, how many people are watching my videos, and how many are subscribers. I will show you here. So if you see here, not subscribed 96.7% and subscribed only 3.3%, right? So only 3.3% are subscriber, whoever watching my videos. Only out of those things 3.3% are subscriber, right? And 96% are not subscriber. They are watching but they are not subscribers, right? So I will just request to you people, please, if you are really like those videos and helpful to you people, please do subscribe my channel and give your comments, which will give me a boost to upload some more videos, right? So hope this video is helpful to you people, and please stay updated for upcoming videos. Thank you.